I am focusing on energy related issues. Friends, before we get into the issues, let us understand the linkages between energy and development. Friends, as I mentioned in my previous class, energy plays not only vital important role, it plays very critical role in development. Matter of fact, as I already told in my previous class, we cannot achieve development without energy. There are two sets of arguments. One set of economists argue that energy is very crucial for any development prosperities. But other sets of economists argue that energy is not important in development because the cost of energy, the total cost of production is very, very less and very negligible. So energy is not important for the development. However, you cannot assume a activity without energy for cooking, for lighting, for charging your mobile, for traveling, transportation, for production, for marketing, for entertainment. You say any activity, invariably we need energy. Without energy, we cannot do anything. So therefore, energy not only plays vital role, it plays a very, very important role. So therefore, energy is needed for development. But the question here is that energy leads to sustainable development? When we pose this question, immediately we face a challenge that how far our energy is clean and sustainable. Because whenever we use, it produces CO2, carbon dioxide. And that carbon dioxide has many consequences. It leads to environmental degradation, pollution, and it increases the greenhouse effect and increases the sea level, and it also increases the temperature of the world. And this, as a result, the human life is having threats. Sustaining the livelihood, sustaining the achievement, sustaining the development is not possible with the energy which produces the carbon dioxide, that is CO2. Therefore, we not only need energy, at the same time, we need the energy which is clean and sustainable. So therefore, there are two important issues. We need energy, and that should be affordable, and that energy should be clean energy. Then only it is possible to achieve the sustainable development. And that is the goal number 7, the clean, affordable energy for sustainable development. Today, it is not simply producing energy. It is not simply the energy which is required. We required the clean energy, the renewable energy, and all the renewable energies are not the clean energies, because your fossil fuels like your agricultural waste, forest waste, they are renewable energy sources, but they are not clean energy sources. These fossil fuels produces CO2. Though they are renewable, they cannot be claimed as, we cannot claim that as the clean energy. So therefore, for the sustainable development, we not only need energy, and that energy should be the clean, renewable, clean energy. Then only it is possible to achieve the sustainable development. So what, again, I always go with the theory. According to classical economics, there is no limit to use of resources, including energy sources. There was a free economy. In the free economy, though the resources are limited, they can be used. There was no limit on the use of the energy sources and other resources. So whereas in the neoclassical, they have introduced the concept of welfare foundation. And this welfare foundation, particularly Pareto and M.V.P.G, they have argued that each of the development activities should lead to the welfare of the people. As you all know, the welfare can be increased for a one person without reducing the welfare of the other person. That is the increase in the welfare. Whereas the optimum welfare in the 2x2x2 sector model. So if you are attaining a welfare at the point where you cannot increase the welfare of a person without reducing the welfare of other persons, that is the optimum level of welfare. That is optimum criteria. But this utopian state is not possible, according to Arthur Cecily Pigou. Pigou has a different approach for this welfare criteria, because whenever we talk about the welfare, we also talk about the externalities. The welfare foundations are largely based on the externalities. There are two different types of externalities. One is positive externalities and another one is the negative externalities. When we produce a commodity, we simply decide the production, the quantity of production, the amount of production, the equilibrium production by using the concept of marginal cost and the marginal revenue. When the marginal cost is equal to the marginal revenue, the production will be decided, and at the same point where that touches the average revenue, that will determine the price of a product. But that is not the right way of fixing the price of a product, because this product may produce externalities. If that product produces externalities, you treat that as this social benefits. If a product is having a positive benefits, positive welfare, then you treat that positive benefits as the social benefit. And if a product produces negative energies, negative welfare, negative externalities, then you treat that as the social cost. So along with your marginal cost and marginal revenue, you add to social benefit and social cost. By using these two concepts, you determine the price. In other words, in simple way, if a product is producing positive externalities, you give incentives. If a commodity is having negative externalities, then you impose tax. So that is the advice given by the Arthur Cecily Pigou. Then when it comes to Keynesian development discourse, he clearly distinguished between development and growth. Achieving growth will be there, but it is the development. And that development should come with in two ways. One is the warranted development and the guaranteed development. Warranted investment and guaranteed investment. This guaranteed investment, guaranteed development should reach the warranted development and warranted investment. Then only we can achieve the sustainable development. So the case not to use the word sustainable development, but the inference can be drawn like that. And then it is E.F. Schumacher and the four quadrants theory. This four quadrants theory, the economy can be divided into four groups: quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, quadrant 4, four squares. Okay. In the first quadrant, only the people, those who are working.
Hello, dear participant, please unmute you.
Mute. Okay. Okay. Rama unmuted now. Right. Okay, Rama, thank you. Okay. So in these four quadrants, in the first quadrants, there are only people, those who are working for others. They are the wage earners, simply the wage earners. So they are poor and they use only the fossil fuels for their basic energy needs. In the second quadrants, there are people, they are employed on the regular basis, but they are also work for the wage. They use some modern energy sources which are relatively clean, but they are not completely using the efficient energy sources. Only in the third and the fourth quadrant, the people is capable of using efficient and clean energy sources. Like the person who is having the high income can purchase an electric car, an electric scooter, a solar panel, a wind panel, a wind turbine. So this is possible only for the people, those who are having the high and very high income. So therefore, income is the major criteria. Income is the major criteria for the development of renewable energy technologies and purchase of renewable technologies and use of renewable energy technologies. So therefore, income plays major role. But what E.F. Schumacher explains, whenever it's possible, you use small things. Don't go for the big things. What it means? If you want to travel a distance from one place to another place, as much as possible, your carbon footprint should be less. Use public transport, use scooter. What do you use ID? And you travel from Mysore to Bangalore with your ID, which consumes high fuels and emits huge CO2. So therefore, as much as possible, be small and simple. And that is the way we can help our society, our environment. That is the argument by F. Schumacher. So in 1972, as you all know, the Club of Rome in Rio de Janeiro, the three economists, Donald H. Meadows, Daniel L. Meadows, and then Jorgen Randers have argued that there is a limit to growth. The world is not having abundant resources to use. If you use the resource in the same scale in another 40, 50 years, all your resources will become empty. And what will your future generation will use? If you drink all the water you have, if you consume all the fertile land what you have, if you destroy the oxygen, then what purpose you are earning income for your generation, future generations? So therefore, then they have introduced the term called sustainable development. So you should live, but not out of the resources which are meant for your future generations. So therefore, achieve the development without compromising the aspirations or the needs of the future generations. That's very, very important. We are building houses, we're constructing dams, we're constructing malls, we're doing everything. Assume that one day if there is no water, if there is no good quality air, what for you we are all doing? So therefore, there is a limit to growth. Limit yourself for the growth. Small is beautiful. So this is the slogan given by these three eminent economists for the whole world. So after that, United Nations started conducting the international conferences to address the issues of environmental challenges. It is not simply the environmental challenges. So the environmental challenges now it is beyond our control. We are not experienced the rain which is flooding like anything. So in North Karnataka, there are floods. In North Karnataka, we are seeing floods. The Kodagu, it was dismantled. There was huge landslides. The sea level is increasing. The temperature is increasing. The ozone layer is deflating. What are the consequences? Do our future generation live with these kind of difficulties? And when you have threats that limits your income earning opportunities, so your future generation will be under threat. If you want your children to be lived safely, if you want your children to be eat healthy food, have good quality air, drink affordable clean energy, portable energy, you should held responsible. We should be sensibly do our activities, change our attitudes, change our thinking, change our practice. Then only it is possible to achieve the sustainable development. So with this conceptual understanding, United Nations has declared 2015, 2020, 2030, 2015 to 2030 as the sustainable decade. Decade is not only 10 years, it is 15 years. Sustainable development decade. So during this period, during this sustainable development decade from 2015 to 2030, we need to ensure our environment is good, resilient, and cope up with our present generation as well as the future generation. By 2030, we have to do something to restore the quality of the environment. So, given this background, for today's class, particularly for the second class, I have chosen this topic, affordable clean energy for sustainable development. And this is the seventh important goal. Friends, when we talk about the energy, there are four important A's. One is availability. Because as I already told, energy is crucial for any activities. We need energy. Do this energy available at all the places, at national level, at state level, at regional level? That's the first question. Availability. If it is available to all the people? That's the first question. Is that availability is accessible? That's the issue of accessibility. So yes, in the rural area, we have electricity connections. Do we get electricity connection, electricity power supply 24/7? That is the question. And the affordability. Yes, we can have the solar panel. Do that if we have the capacity to purchase that solar panel. Are we affordable to purchase that energy source? So nowadays we have different types of the energy. As I already mentioned, yes, I can purchase a electric scooter and the electric car. You have that capacity. That is the affordability. And then acceptability. So we have a mindset. So since I have land and I have agricultural residuals, or should I go for the gas stove or electrical stove? We have a mindset. Even in most of the places, particularly in rural area, we use agricultural residuals, particularly for heating the water for bath. Even today, this is the reality. This is the reality, which produces a lot of carbon dioxide. So therefore, the mindset has to be changed. We have to accept the changing phenomena. What is going on? What threats we are having? Why we need to use the renewable sources, clean energy sources. Now, the clean energy is the most important than simply access to or accepting the energy. We have to accept the clean energy sources. So therefore, now at the point where we're talking about the energy security and affordable clean energy security. So this energy security is different. The energy security talks about whether a person or a place or the region is access to 24/7 energy. That is energy security. But that is not important today. Today, it is affordable clean energy, access to affordable clean energy for all the people. That is very, very important today. Friend, I think the previous speakers could have been talk about the background of the sustainable development goals. But let me briefly talk about the three important the dynamic changes uh, which have been changed the thinking of the development. One is until 1990, we were talking about the development which was merely address the issues of economic development till 1990. During 1987, the United Nations has set up a committee headed by the stalwart, the Haq Mahbub ul Haq, Amartya Sen, Paul Streeton, Sudhir Dasgupta, and many others to coin a new word for address the real development. And they have come out with the concept of human development. And this human development is measurable. The human development is measurable through the Human Development Index. So that is the change from economic development to, instead of using GDP and per capita income, instead of using the GDP and per capita income as the measurement of development, the world has started to measure the development in terms of human development. That's the landmark shift from the thinking of development, from economic development to human development, where there are three important concepts: health, education, and the income. And they have given beautiful definition for the human development. Human development is the process of enlarging the choices of people by giving education and skill to have a healthier, longer, fuller, a decent standard of life. That's the definition given by these stalwarts. So increasing the choices. So now, since 1990, particularly after 2000, the globalization, privatization has created huge opportunities. And there is a huge scope for, and even the governments have provided the free education to the girls, free education to the poor, with scholarship, with hostel facilities, with no fees. So the opportunities are increased. So under the concept of human development, the opportunities are increased. The educational opportunities are increased. Though there is a difference in the quality of the education, the opportunities are increased. But at the same time, this globalization, privatization has also increased the environmental threats to the world, this ecosystem. our ecosystem, it's not balanced. So therefore, in 2050, the United Nations thought of introducing the new concept called sustainable development. And this there is no methodology to straight away measure the sustainable development. Instead of that, it has put 17 goals and targets. If we efficiently reach these targets and goals, we can ensure the sustainable development for not only the present generation and for also the future generation. And you may ask me a question, what is millennial developments? So millennial developments were also committed goals. We had committed goals from 2000 to 2015. The United Nations has declared the decade 2000-2015 as the Millennium Development Decade. So that was the new millennium. And we intended to reduce the poverty and end the hunger and reduce the inequality, increase the opportunity for health and education, and ensuring for the ensuring for decent work and having a shelter and ensuring the opportunity for all. These are all the Millennium Development Goals. And this Sustainable Development Goals, there also include all the goals which were stated in the Millennium Development Goal, but these are more stringent, very strong, ambitious goals. The sustainable goals are more ambitious, and most importantly, these sustainable development goals are more active, action-oriented goals. And we have the United Nations with these conferences. Now we have completed 25 conferences. With these 25 conferences, United Nations has laid down the condition for each of the countries, what the country has to do. So therefore, there is a mutually agreed agreement to combat the environmental issues. So what the problems we have today, it is not the problem of the India. It is not the problem of Premakumara. It is not the problem of somebody else. It is the problem of the world. World with this sustainable development goals is the whole world is integrated to combat with these environmental issues. So therefore, today, the most importantly, the whole world is agreed to save this one earth. To save this one earth. We are not having another earth. We have only one earth, and this earth has to be saved. Otherwise, there is no future for our future generation. So this is the background for the sustainable development goals. Friends, I'm not getting into all the 17 goals, but all these 17 goals are not separate goals. All these goals are integrated goals. You cannot achieve reducing the poverty without ensuring the clean energy. You cannot end the hunger. You cannot solve the problem of inequality without addressing the sustainable development. So all the 17 goals are the 16 goals. 17th goal is the international cooperation for achieving these 16 goals. So that is 17th goal. So therefore, all these 17 goals are not the separate goals. All are integrated. If you achieve in one goal, that will positively help you to achieve the other goals. So therefore, there is no priority. First, I will reach the first goal. Then I will go to the second goal. Then I will go to the third goal. No, that is not possible. You have to go with all the 16 goals plus international cooperation, that is the 17th goal. You have to go with all the 17 goals because each goal will positively help to achieve the another goal. If you achieve sustainable clean energy practices that will help to create jobs, reduce poverty, and reducing the carbon footprints. So therefore, all the 17 goals are integrated with each other's. Okay, you all know these 17 goals. I'm not going to the first goal, no poverty, zero hunger, good health and well-being, quality education, gender equality, clean water, and sustainable sanitation. Seventh one is affordable and clean energy, what I am addressing today. The decent work, economic growth, industry innovations, infrastructure, and then reduced
inequality.
okay.
Inequalities.
Yes, climate action, life below water, life on land, peace, justice, and strong institutions, partnerships for the goals. So you look into all these things. Let me go with these two important things. One is infrastructure. Another one is affordable clean energy. You cannot have a good infrastructure without clean energy. Your trains are nowadays running with electricity. If you produce that electricity with fossil fuels or with the non-renewable energy sources like thermal or oil, that produces not only CO2 and other gases. And at the same time, transmitting this energy, there is a pollution. And when you're using energy, that is also pollution. So therefore, infrastructure and energy should go hand in hand. That is one thing. Look at here, decent work and economic growth. If a person is having a decent work, that will ensure the income for that person. When he is having sufficient income or reliably good income from the decent work, then is capable of purchasing affordable energy sources. Otherwise, he cannot. So therefore, you have to ensure the decent work in order to purchase the sustainable energy source, and that will also in order to access the infrastructure. We have Mysore-Bengaluru highway, superfast highway. How many uses that highway? The people, those who are having income, can have the capacity to pay the road fast tag. They are allowed to use the Mysore-Bengaluru highway. If you are not paying the toll, you are not allowed. If you are driving scooter, you are not allowed. If you are driving auto rickshaw, you are not allowed. Your other vehicles are not allowed. Only cars, buses, and heavy vehicles are allowed. So there is a restriction. And other people face problems. So you have to develop simultaneously the infrastructure, which is also cater the other people, those who are incapable of paying the tolls. That's why we have another 4 roads. So this is how each of these 17 goals are interconnected. Okay. Let me talk about the 7th goal. What the 7th goal explains. So as I already mentioned, it is affordable and clean energy issues. It is addressing the issues related to affordable and clean energy. Between 2000 and 2016, the number of people with electricity increased from 78 to 87%. And the number without electricity dipped to just below 1 billion. So all over the world, there are only 1 billion people now without electricity supply. But the same thing, it also means that there are people without electricity, particularly in rural areas. Yet, as the population continues to grow, so will the demand for cheap energy, and an economy reliant on fossil fuels is creating drastic changes to our climate. We should not forget. Okay, if you are using fossil fuels like the forest residuals or agriculture residuals and other things like the wood and others, so we have threat to our climate. So we need to stop using of fossil fuels. Investing in solar, wind, thermal power, improving energy productivity, and ensuring energy for all is the vital if you are to achieve SDG 7 by 2030. The first very important target is you have to ensure the energy for all by 2030. That is the target. Expanding infrastructure and upgrading technology to provide clean and more efficient energy in all countries will encourage the growth and help the environment. So this is another important target achieved under the seventh goal. Meaning the technology has to be improved. Then only it is possible to ensure the energy efficiency. For example, in 20-30 years back, we were using candescent bulbs, which consumes huge electricity power. Nowadays, we have only 3-watt bulbs, 1-watt bulbs, then 100-watt bulbs. 100-watt means 1 hour, that bulb was consuming 100 watts. Now, in 1 hour, this bulb consumes only 1 watt, 2 watt. That is the improvement in the technology. Okay, like that. Your car should give more mileage. So nowadays we have hybrid cars, which gives 30 to 40 kilometers mileage. So the technology, the change in the technology upgradation and the technological change. There are two important concepts here. One is technological change and technological upgradation, meaning everybody use the available technology. So yes, we have 1-watt bulbs, but do all the people use that 1-watt bulbs? Make sure that all should use that available technology. So the available technology has to be used, which is sustainable, which is efficient. At the same time, there should be change in the technology, that is structural change, going from 2-watt bulbs to 1-watt bulbs, improvement in the technology. So the two aspects, everybody should use the technology and technology has to be improved. Okay, that is also the important aspect under the goal number 7. Some facts and figures related to the fact number 7. So 1 in 7 people still lack of electricity. I have already told. They're mostly living in rural area, particularly in developing countries, developing world, like in India, like in Bangladesh, like in Pakistan. So still there are people, the rural people, not access to electricity. This is the fact. Energy is the main contributor to climate change. It produces around 60% of greenhouse gases. Your CO2, your HPSO, sulfuric acid, methane, ethane. So all these will come from this energy only. Only 40% of the pollution from other sources. 60% of the climate change is done by the energy. Because of the bad energy, because of the non-renewable energy, because of the renewable but not clean energy, we have 60% of the threat to the climate change is from the energy alone. So understand the importance of the production and use of energy. If you are having a good practices, good technologies to produce energy, if you have a good means of sources to produce the energy, if you have a good practices to adoption the technologies, if you have adapted good practices to use of energy, then we can drastically reduce the threat to the environment. So therefore, the energy plays the very crucial role in ensuring the sustainable development. More efficient energy standards could reduce building and industry electricity consumption by 14%. If you have energy standards, like as I already told, when you go to purchase a fridge, you purchase a 5-star power efficient energy, 5-star energy efficient fridge you need to purchase. If you are purchasing a car, you purchase a car which gives more mileage. If you are purchasing a scooter, instead of purchasing a regular scooter, purchase an electric scooter. Just a minute. The next one is more than 40% of world population, that is almost 3 billion out of 7 billion, rely on polluting and unhealthy fuels for cooking. Even today, 3 billion, meaning 300 crore people using unhealthy, polluting fossil fuels for cooking, even today. So what we are talking about here, in urban places, we use gas, electrical stove. Okay. What about the rural places? In most of the developing countries, particularly rural areas, even today they use the polluting fuel sources. Like they use cow dung, they use agricultural residuals, they use forest residuals, they use wood, they use other sources which produces more CO2. Even today, almost 40% of the cooking practices are unhealthy. If you change that attitude, if you change that practice, how much pollution you can stop? Just to think of it. Okay. As of 2015, more than 20% of the power was generated through renewable sources, 20%. Now it has been increased to 32%. I have not updated this one, sorry. 32% of the renewable energy sources have been produced now. The renewable energy sector employed a record of 10.3 million people by 2070, meaning there are huge employment opportunities nowadays in this energy sector, particularly that too in renewable energy sectors. For example, to prepare the solar energy panels, to fix the solar panels, to maintain the solar panels, the production of wind turbines, installation, and other sources. There are huge employment opportunities in this renewable energy sector. So if we invest, if the government decide to invest in this sector, if the world decide to invest in this sector, definitely there are huge employments. So decent work along with clean energy. If you invest in renewable sector, it not only gives the income, it provides decent work, it also ensures the clean energy. So this is how the strategies of the government needs to be changed. This is what the goal 7 made different targets. So the targets under the goal number 7, by 2030, ensure universal access to affordable, reliable, and modern energy sources to everyone. There are 7 billion people. For all the 7 billion people, you have to ensure not only affordable, it should be reliable, and it should be modern. Modern means which pollutes less. I'm not saying it will not pollute. It pollutes less. you should ensure by 2030. By 2030, increase substantially the share of renewable energy in the global energy mix. The energy mix means how much thermal that we are using, how much oil that we are using, how much solar that we are using, how much coal and lignite that we are using. Okay, that is the mix. Energy mix means coal, lignite, thermal, hydel, solar, renewable, like that. So that is called energy mix. In that mix, if it is 100, I will show you that later. If it is 100%, the renewable share has to be increased by 2030. By 2030, double the global rate of improvement in energy efficiency. This is also very important. This is possible only through your technological advancement. Therefore, invest in advancing the technology for renewable energy sources. The investment has to be taken place not only in producing renewable energy, also investing in the products which uses energy and consumes lesser electricity or the energy sources. Okay, instead of consuming 1 liter petrol to travel 20, if you produce a car which gives 30 kilometers, 1 liter of petrol, that energy efficiency is increased. Meaning, with the same energy you are traveling and you are covering more distance. That is efficient. By 2030, enhance international cooperation to facilitate access to clean energy research and technology. How come this energy improvements in the energy efficiency comes? Only by investing in energy research and technologies, including renewable energy, energy efficiency enhance, advanced and cleaner fossil fuels technologies. So we can clean the fossil fuels and then we can use and promote investment in energy infrastructure and clean energy technologies. These also are other targets. By 2030, expand infrastructure and upgrade technology for supplying modern and sustainable energy services for all in developing countries, in particular, least developed countries, small islands, developing states, and landlocked developing countries, in accordance with their respective programs of support. This is very important. America uses that technology, okay, you use, but at the same time ensure that India is also using the same technology, Bangladesh is also using the same technology, China is also using the same technology, and like Thailand is also using the same technology. If not using, you support the investment in order to develop the technologies which supports the clean energy practice. So nowadays we have sustainable energy practices and a new research circle. In 2017 and 2020, the two projects funded by the Global Environment Facility and implemented by United Nations Development Program helped the farmers adopt sustainable agricultural practices. The projects provided them with the biodigesters equipment through which animals' dung is processed and turned into compost and biogas. So, as you all know, cow dung is also a form of energy, but we use it for the cooking. Don't use like that. Instead of that, you convert the cow dung as a mineral. The cow dung has to be converted into the form of the biogas, or you can compost, so that we have to promote these kind of the projects. So that's why the United Nations, way back in 2017 and 20, they have large projects were implemented in South Africa to show the world how can we better use of these kind of the energy sources. Though they are fossil, so though they are producing this carbon dioxide, instead of using the same cow dung to cooking the food, use it for as a manure or use it as a energy source, biogas. Okay. 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 Whether you are planning some from here onwards, I am talking about the best practices. What best practices that we can go? Just an example, you are planning a year end, you are planning a party, you are planning a birthday celebration, you are planning an anniversary celebration. When you are celebrating these kind of the practices, okay, with your friends and relatives, you have some ideas. Idea number one, cut greenhouse gas emission from traveling. Okay, you want to celebrate birthday or the anniversary. Why are you going to Coorg? Weekend you want to celebrate. Every weekend you go to Coorg. How much distance you are traveling? How much fuel you are burning? Instead of going that far, you go to nearby place. You go to Kanakpura. There are beautiful places. Am I right? So the distance should be less. You should not travel a lot to celebrate a function, to celebrate an occasion. Cut that. Most of the world's emissions come from electricity, transportation, and other forms of energy production. And greenhouse gases contribute to the warming of Earth. So here is how you can cut your impact when organizing an event. Choose a venue close to the public transport. If possible, go by the public transport system. Arrange a bus for everyone. Don't go by individual cars. You pool. So now our friends are pooling the car for going to their colleges. Good. Use public transport. If available, choose an electric bus. Instead of going by the regular bus, go by train. It is more efficient. Carpool. Okay. So now we have seen the electric bus from Mysore to Bangalore, Bangalore to Kodagu, Bangalore to Madikeri, Bangalore to Virajpet. We have power plus buses, which uses electricity, and there is no emission. Right? So that is one of the best practice. The second important one, choose a venue that is conscientious about its environmental footprints. By choosing a green venue, you can reduce greenhouse gas emissions, use water and other resources sustainably, and dispose your waste responsibly. You drink water, bottle of water, and throw it out somewhere. Don't do that. Use dustbins. Choose venues that have recycling bins. Find venues which efficient. These are some of the practices that we can inculcate in our daily life and is when we are celebrating something, so that by practicing these things, we can do a lot of help to the environment. Not only help, it is not helping the environment, helping ourselves. If the environment is good, we are also live good. So that's very, very important. Ask for low energy consuming audio visual equipment and lighting, LED, reusable backdrops, and light washing. Ask the venue to identify a local charity or school to donate materials to offer the event is over. So when you finished your function, don't waste everything. Donate it to somebody else. Look at here. Use the spins. Okay, use a green place. Okay. Choose a meat-free menu. Don't blame me because The meat, to produce 1 kilo meat, it consumes more energy and produce more emissions. The 1 kilo vegetables, to grow 1 kilo vegetables, it consumes less energy and not produce any gases. You got my point? So by choosing a meat-free menu, you can also contribute to the environmental sustainability. Okay, because if you decide to offer seafood, you offer by a certified person, ask your caterer to serve locally and if possible to provide certified organic options. Ask your caterer if compositing or biofuel is available for food that can't be donated. Look at here. If you go to some seashore, you see like this. You see like this. What happens? Look at here. Every year, up to 30 million tons of plastic flood the ocean. 30 million tons we're injecting that plastic into our oceans. How do our seas or our oceans sustain these things? Look at here. That's equivalent to dumping the contents of one garbage truck into the ocean every minute. Every minute, you are dumping one truck full of garbage to the ocean. Whether you know or don't know, I don't know. Somehow, all your garbage will go to the ocean only. They have their own route. They find their own route and they will reach the ocean. How much biodiversity will spoil? And most importantly, the plastic takes more than 400 years to degrade. So most of it still exists in some form. Our forefathers lived 300 years back. If they have used plastic, even today, that plastic exists. If you use a bottle and throw it out, somehow it reaches ocean and it will be there for another 400 years. That is accumulation every minute. The accumulation of garbage, accumulation of plastic into the ocean. Being conscious about papers use. We simply use papers and throw it out. Do you know the environment? Do you know the threat we have by using the unwanted papers? Simply writing on one line, throw it out. Writing a poem on one line, throw it out, throw it out. It is possible, you can show it in films, but in real life, in your own life, don't do like that. Very judiciously use the paper. 17 trees and 7 gallons of water can be saved for every tons of paper recycled. If you recycle the paper, 1 ton of paper, you can save 17 trees and 7,000 gallons of water. So, if you want to produce 1 ton of paper, you cut 17 trees and uses 7,000 gallons of water. Right? Very precisely, you should practice. Avoid single-use plastics. Request and verify that caterer limits single-use items wherever possible. Go paperless. Use email. Set up your website or groups and messengers to spread the word. Wherever it's possible, use alternative sources to the paper. So look at this carbon natural world by 2050. This is another important milestone we need to achieve. carbon neutral world by 2050. If we create that world, carbon neutral world, that can be efficiently used by our future generation. Otherwise, we are not really leaving our children alone. We are leaving our children with threats. So here some of the diagrams. I'm not taking much of your time for explaining all those things. This is some work I have done to explain where we are moving towards, whether we are really moving towards the sustainability or not. Just to show, I am showing these slides. So these slides, I am talking about the 5 important countries. One is India, Indonesia, Malaysia, Thailand, and Vietnam. How the energy practices and how the energy sector is moving in these 5 countries from 1991 to 2014 till the start of the sustainability year. So in my another presentation, I have what was between 91 and 14 and between 15 and 25. There is another part. This is during that period. So trends in access to clean energy and technologies for cooking. Look at here. In Malaysia, almost 100% of the households use clean energy. India is this color, this one, orange color. So it is less than 25%, less than 25, 40%. Meaning another 60%, more than 50%, more than 60% of 70, more than 70% of the households in India still use unhealthy, polluting fuels for cooking in India. So it was less than 20 in 1991, and now it is less than little more than 35%, 30%. Meaning another 70% are not using clean energy in India. So this is the index I have computed by using some formula. There is a methodology which I have developed to construct the energy security index and sustainability index, dependency index. Out of that, I am showing you all this because we need to have make the comparison. This is about energy efficiency in Asia. Again, the same 5 countries. What is the energy efficiency? Look at here. None of the countries' energy efficiency is not more than 12%. Look at here, left side, 12. Not more than 12%. Meaning, our 88% of the energy practices of the technologies are inefficient. There's a huge scope to increase the energy efficiency. This is CO2 emissions in Asia and in these 5 countries. There are a lot of fluctuations in CO2 emissions. For the countries like Malaysia, it is fluctuating, but it is still between 50 to, sorry, between 25 to 45, 25 to 40. Okay. For India, you can see, for India, it is, it was more than 40%, and now it has come down to around 30%. Still, India is emitting 30% of emissions, CO2. So other countries also between 20 and 40. Yeah. Greenhouse gas emission in Asia. This is very dangerous for India, in Indian point of view. Look at here, greenhouse gas emission continuously increasing in India. Because India is a major agricultural country and we are always producing greenhouse gases. So still it is increasing in India. Renewable energy, electricity output. Yeah. In India, this renewable electricity production has been increased continuously. Whereas in other countries, it is not happening. Only in India, India is producing more renewable electricity compared to other Asian countries. And this renewable energy consumption, it is coming down. You may ask me question, sir, it is coming down, oh, it's good. No, it is not good. We are reducing our fossil fuel consumption. Fossil fuel is also a renewable energy source that is reducing. This is per capita income in Asia. You all know this in terms of dollar. Yeah. Eighth one, it is trends in energy dependency. How far a nation is depending on other countries for its energy needs. So fortunately, all the Asian countries like India, Indonesia, Nepal, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Pakistan, the dependency is reduced. But you can see India, which is India. It is yellow, the yellow line. The dependency during 90s it was high, and now it is reducing. This is trends in energy efficiency index. This is in terms of index. The previous slides were actual. Now it is index. The energy efficiency is increasing, which is good one. Yeah. Trends in energy sustainability index. Energy efficiency increasing, but sustainability is not increasing. It is reducing. Even for India, it is reducing. The last one, energy security. Ultimately, it is the energy security. Energy security is nothing but ensuring affordable, clean energy to all. So according to this, in India, the yellow line, only 50% of the people are affordable to clean energy. So there are another 50% of the people who are not having the capacity to afford the clean energy sources. So there is a long way we need to go. And this is the energy mix in India. This is India. I'm talking about India. Look at here. The first one is coal and lignite. Almost, you can see more than 70%. It was in 1913, it was more than 70%. Now it was 50. And at the same time, electricity, including hydro and nuclear, very small. Natural gas, very small. Crude petroleum, that's also very small. And we are largely using coal and lignite for our energy purpose, which is very dangerous. So the first one, coal and lignite, and then crude petroleum, and then natural gases. So we need to change this mix. The renewable energy part has to be increased. That is one of the target under the goal number 7. Yeah. So this is in terms of percentage. The previous one is measured in terms of equivalent of oil, and this is energy mix in terms of percentage. Look at here, almost 70%. That is coal and lignite. Very small percentage, that's yellow color. So this is for status of energy demand. Look at here, the energy intensity is coming down, whereas the energy demand is increasing continuously in India. Even today, energy dependency is increasing in India. Energy import is increasing. Environmental sustainability, that is trends in CO2 emission, still it is increasing. Share of renewable reducing, but it is largely from fossil fuels. The last slide. It is possible to ensure affordable and clean energy to all. That is 4 A's: available, accessible, affordable, and adaptable or acceptable. Friend, let me conclude by saying, whether you want or not, we are facing the problem. And the severity of the problem, it is more for the poor people, marginal people, and their livelihood. If any environmental degradation, the most affected are the poor and the marginal people, because they will lose employment. They will lose the income earning opportunities. So therefore, always threat is more to the poor and marginal sections. And rich somehow escape from these threats. But the future generation, we cannot escape from this threat. If whether you are rich or the poor, if you want your children to have a life, I'm not talking about the rich life. If your children want to have a life, you have to you have to ensure you are going with environment. We need to change our attitude. We need to change our practice. We need to change our thinking. We should educate ourselves and we should educate others also. We should support the practices which are environmental friendly. We should say no if there is a threat to the environment. If a person is throwing a bottle on the road, you tell him, don't do this. This is not the right way. If everybody started this kind of these small practices, definitely by 2030 and by 2050, the carbon neutral environment is not impossible.